All right, guys, welcome to Savage Syndicate. Yesterday, most of you know there was a mass shooting in Buffalo, and this Savage Syndicate is all about making you hard to kill. So obviously we can't avoid all situations, but I wanted to get my man Chris Newton on. He is who I go to with all of my questions about what should I have done, what could I have done differently, all these different scenarios that we're faced with every day. So I thought it would be good to get him on a quick video and just walk us through maybe some of the things that you can do. I mean, we all know life's unavoidable, like things are going to happen, but just how we can help ourselves not be victims. So welcome, Chris. We'll make this short, quick and short, but so like I said, everybody knows about what happened in the shooting yesterday. If you're in a grocery store and you start hearing shooting, somebody popping off shots in there, what do you do? Like what, and you have your family with you. What should you do?
Right. Again, like when we've talked in the past, first of all, we have to go beyond that or go before that. And what precedes that is training. Right. And if you don't have the training, you're when we talk about odds or percentages, your percentages of survival are going to be a lot less. That's just the facts. We can talk about it, and there's definitely some good information out there that I can give you. We can, and other professionals can give you, but you still have to put it into play. You have to employ those principles or those concepts into action, and training is paramount. It has to be consistent. It is a perishable skill, and so when you think of mindset and train, if you go beyond the physical part of it, and you go beyond you go to mindset. You're like, well, where do I need to be in my, we'll call it color code of awareness? And we've talked about that. You know all about it, right? White, yellow, orange, red, black. Most people walk around in white all the time. Now, obviously, in a situation like this, which is so unfortunate and terrible and tragic, the reality is most people are not walking around trained individuals. And it doesn't have to be a military trainer or anything, but just trained in some sort of real world self-defense, not to be mistaken with some sort of traditional martial art, which is still better than nothing, but still not going to, they don't address certain issues that need to be addressed. And first of all, I teach Krav Maga, among other things that I've taught in the past, but we've culminated this system here where we are and into an MMA format that then takes it to that then adds the Krav Maga principles. So you've been in the MMA ring, boxing ring, so you know what it's like. I couldn't just sit here and tell you, okay, I want you to slip that jab, send the uppercut off the front side, send another uppercut, and then hit him with the hook. You'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Then you go and try to do that, right? It's just, so it has to be, the scenarios have to be trained and planned out. What I teach the introductory classes, we teach the 5 principles of self-defense. 5 principles of self-defense, not Krav Maga, but self-defense. Self-defense are avoidance. So you avoid at all costs. So don't go into bad places, get a bad vibe, get out. You're in a supermarket. There was no avoiding that. We all go to the supermarket. Awareness. Well, once somebody starts shooting, the awareness is already there. You're hearing shots. You're going to be aware.
Yeah.
Distance. And as you get distance, you acquire your weapon, an improvised weapon, cover or concealment. Cover and concealment aren't always the same. I can be covered, but I'm not concealed or hidden. I can be hidden, but not covered, because I could be in a barrier where gunfire could actually penetrate that cover or that concealment, I should say. So you have to know what your barrier is if you are going to get behind a barrier, if you are going to hide. And that's not always the best way to go about it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. All depends on the facility, the situation. Kind of get out of the sun here. The facility, the situation, we once you understand that, then you go into Krav Maga, and then we go in our principles of Krav Maga, and then escape. Mm-hmm. Now, along the lines, you might not be able to get to those things, and that's where the failure may come in, right? When you failed to catch cover, you failed to have a weapon on you, you failed to get an improvised weapon. So every scenario is so different. If you were in a school, let's say, we would teach people, and again, this is more trained, to have both sides of the entryway covered with people. If you know that person's gonna that active shooter is gonna breach that entryway, you need to be on them and attack them. Krav Maga principle: attack the attack, always move forward. Right. So to stand back, if there's no exit, and to stand back in a corner and hide behind a desk, that's not going to do it. Yeah. So our people that we train have to be able to, like a conductor or a maestro, right? We have to organize these people together, give them quick, small details where they can understand under this high stress, extremely life altering situation, and get them behind cover of the walls. So as soon as that person breaches, and the trained person would be the first one to go, you're going to get a hold of that gun. You're going to ambush this person. Everybody else is jumping on until you subdue that person. Will shots be fired? Good chance. Will somebody die? Good chance. But at least not everybody dies. Yeah. So you have to go down trying. Now that might be, people might be listening as like, yeah, okay, sure. No, well, it's either that or you lay back in the corner and you get shot that way.
Well, I think a retired officer, he was one of the guys who went after him and died and got shot. Mm-hmm. I was just looking at it right before we got on. Yeah.
If there's some heroes out there. There's some people that are going to run towards that attack. I don't expect every citizen in the United States to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. Nor should they. Right? You have to, because once you get to that person, you got to know what to do. Yeah. So there's where the training comes in. If that officer might have had a few other people with him that would have assisted him, maybe that would have happened. Maybe not. We don't know. Now, my solution: guns. You carry a weapon. Yeah. You have to get trained on that weapon, but you carry a weapon. That's where I'm off to actually right now to go train. We here in Boise, we train probably 50 people a month in our firearms division. Mm-hmm. And we're training regular citizens. That's a lot of them are there. I shouldn't say a lot. Some of them are retired officers who just want to keep up their skills, and the retired military, so on and so forth. But a lot of people are citizens who want to learn to protect themselves. Unfortunately, when it comes to the gun situation, we've got a whole layer of things that just don't go right. Right, from legislation to the image of what guns are. The fact that a gun is evil doesn't play into most people's minds. They hear active shooter, they're saying gun is evil. It was the gun that killed everybody. It was a crazy ass man who did this. Yeah. Now put the gun in somebody else's hand and they put him down. Now that gun saved that person. Mm-hmm. So the gun is just a tool. So you can't demonize the weapon, the gun. You have to demonize the human being. But how do you stop? This is reality now. This isn't, La La Land. How do you stop somebody with any type of weapon? I don't care if it's an AR or a 380. It doesn't matter. How do you stop that person that's firing off rounds? You got to fire back. Unless you can get close enough to that person where you can disarm them. Then you better be a tough motherfucker. Yeah. Sorry, excuse my language.
You're good. Right? This is savages.
You got to be a bad man or a woman. You got to go after him. You got to do everything you got. Scratch, claw, bite, do everything you can to get that gun off and neutralize that son of a bitch. You got to do it. Yeah. Now, you could run, and if there's exits, go. Just go. Myself, personally, I ain't going. I'm trained. I do this for a living. I train people to do this. I would not sleep with myself at night knowing that I ran when other people died. That's just me, but that's not everybody. I don't expect everybody to do that. There are certain people in this world, though, that should. Certain people, and they probably know who they are. So I always have a firearm with me. So I'm going after him, and I got the drop on him because I know where he's at. He's firing shots first. Yeah. I can always find cover or concealment and wait for his ass to give me his back or to give me some sort of opening so I can take him out.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hunt him. But I can hunt him because I have a weapon.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a weapon, it's gonna be tough. I'd probably still do it, but there's a good chance I'm probably not coming out alive.
So what would you say, like, if I'm in there, I have my son Kingston and my wife with me, get them out first and then go back and engage, or just say F it, get them all out, all of us out, or how would you play that out?
Honestly, I'm a single guy, no kids.
Yeah.
So I don't have that much to lose from that standpoint.
Yeah.
So my mentality is different. You got a family.
Yeah.
You get them out, you might want to keep on going because you want to live for your family. But if I go,
but like you said, it's a
my
hard
mom's
pill
gonna be
to
upset,
swallow.
but you know.
Yeah, it's a hard
What's
pill
that?
to swallow to get everybody out and then just walk off like, oh man, people are dying. How, that's what I think would be eating at me more. This is what I love about the training that you provide. Then this because I ask you 1,000 questions. Like, I love the scenario based. I love that, like, hey, if I'm at an ATM and there's a bum looking around, then we would do this and we would do the role play. And that's what I think. That's why I wanted to have you on and have your opinion, because I love your experience. I love your knowledge, and I love the things that you tell me how to do things. So yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would if people were watching this that are looking for solutions, there's no guarantees, right? Clint Eastwood would say, you want a guarantee? Buy a toaster. Right? So there's no guarantees in life. Yeah. But you could definitely up your chances. You can definitely get out of the sun a little bit here. Hopefully it's not blasting you out.
No, you're good. You're good.
You see my beautiful backyard in Idaho.
It's looking good out there.
You hear my stream? You hear my stream running in the back?
It's a babbling brook.
Babbling brook, baby. So, training. A lot of people work out. They lift weights for a purpose, right? They might have health issues that weight training will help them with. They might want to get bulkier, bigger, stronger. They might want to lose weight, whatever it may be. But they're in the gym working out for a purpose. Take the self-defense aspect of it. You're still getting that workout, especially if you go to something like Krav Maga or something like that. And then you're going to get trained on self-defense.
Yeah.
So that self-defense starts with these, right? And the feet and the head and everything else, right? We become animals when needed. There has to be that trigger. Something sets us off and boom, we're there. That's what needs to be trained. That then will transition or transfer to firearm. You don't have to have an arsenal. You don't have to, be Joe Gun with all the gear on, right? Not look like me sometimes when I'm out there training, because got the tactical games coming up soon. So I'm training for that. So got the plate carriers, I'm climbing ropes and shit. People are looking at me like, what? But yeah, don't have to be that guy, but you have to be somebody that's willing to do something bad to somebody who's doing bad things to people.
Yeah.
And whether it's an active shooter, or maybe it's somebody that's trying to hurt you, or maybe somebody trying to hurt your kids, whatever it may be. Okay. But we're talking about active shooter here. Imagine if we had a society where whenever that man walked in with his gun and he starts firing off rounds, everybody was trained. Or let's just say half the people were trained. No, let's say a quarter of the people were trained and they all carried weapons. A quarter of those people. So if there's 100 people in that place, 25 people had weapons on them. How long do you think that guy would go?
Yeah.
I don't gunned down.
I don't even think he would walk in there knowing that a quarter of the people would have weapons. I mean, I think that would be a deterrent for a lot of these shootings from happening. Yeah.
Well, how many active shooters run into police departments shooting?
Yeah. Well, I posted
military bases.
I posted one in the group where a guy tried to steal a gun from a concealed gun class, and they all were packing, and the cops came and they started fighting with the cops. And you can go on, it's in the channel here, but they cut it out, but there's like 4 or 5 guys standing around the cops, and he got away from the cops and all of them drew and pointed. And then they don't show the rest of the video. I could probably find it somewhere, but I mean, people are stupid, and people, You can't depend on people thinking as rational as we think. And I think carrying is a huge benefit.
Well, that's where the training comes in. So then if you carry, that's cool. That's awesome, right? So then we could put somebody down like that. There's a solution. That's the first step of the solution. Though. Second step is to have them trained. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's trained, now you know how to put rounds on target, not missing. Now you know, hey, I don't want to have anybody else in the crossfire, right? Because we know that our first thing we teach people are the rules of firearms, right? For firearm safety. And one of the rules is know what's in front of your target and beyond your target. Mm-hmm. Right. So we don't want to have a whole bunch of people shooting at one person and everybody else is getting hit too.
Yeah.
But that's where training comes in. So if they're trained to understand that, it's just in their blood, then things are going to go well. Right.
How long does it become or take an individual from no experience to efficient to where you feel they're comfortable in a dangerous situation?
Well, a lot of it has to do with their tenacity and training, right? How consistent they want to be and how often they train. Mm-hmm. Conceptually, one of our 4-hour classes is going to give them, 300% more knowledge and skill for learning how to handle that firearm. Most people don't know how to grip it and know their stance, let alone be able to then put somebody down, right? Mm-hmm. But once they get that comfort level, we've seen it from the person that's shaking before they even grab their weapon to at the end of the class, 4 hours, they're out there, drawing. It's just familiarizing. Firearms can be very simple. The more you complicate it, the worse. The brain just doesn't handle all those things. We keep it simple, and and a lot of it has to do with muscle memory, mechanics. Getting the neural connections together, so we know how to draw every single time. Hand to chest, master grip, draw, press out. Right? Don't really need to have any other real fancy draws. Right? If you just get those basic fundamentals and you do them over and over and over again, even in your home. Right? We teach people to dry fire. Take all your ammo, get it out of the room. You're in your room by yourself. You got your empty weapon. You check it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Empty. Put up a little paper target on the wall, and you go. Maybe a couple targets, and then you start hitting. But you're drawing. You're practicing your trigger press. You're practicing all these things. There's apparatuses out there too that will tell you if you're jerking the trigger, mashing the trigger, or jerking the gun one way or another. You can't get all of the beautiful, recoil management things down, but you can definitely get some of the most basic and the most fundamental and the most important. Then you take it out to the range. That's when you can then put strings of rapid fire down and do some really good stuff. And then that's going to only enhance and reinforce those techniques that you were training at home. Yeah. And it doesn't take like hours. Like we tell people, look, 5 to 10 minutes a day. It's better to do, if you're trying to learn a skill, it's better to do something small, like 5 or 10 minutes a day, every day, than it is to do something once a week or once a month.
Yeah.
Right. You just be consistent with it. Just holding your firearm, things of that nature. Now, unfortunately, politics and rhetoric and all this kind of stuff, certain places like where you live, California, they don't want you carrying, they don't want you doing this, they don't want you doing that. Just let the bad guys have the guns and you just wait for the police. Yeah. And the police tell you, it's like, guys, we're not getting there right away unless we're right around the corner. It's going to take 10 minutes. How long does it take for somebody to put down a whole bunch of people? It doesn't take long. Yeah. Police are there to manage the crisis, but they're not there to stop it.
Yeah.
They're just not going to stop it. And they'll tell you that we're pro police. We love them, but and we train quite over the years. How many police have we trained? I mean, I don't know, a lot, right? Yeah. We can't even tell you that. And a lot of it where we get our experience from. We've trained them. We get to hear stories. I get to put the suits on and actually attack these officers in their full gear. Mm-hmm. So then I can show them where some of them have questions like, well, where should I place my gear? How should my kit be set up? Where should my knife be? Is there a better place to put my cuffs? Is there, so on and so forth. So we then pressure test that. It's like, okay, can you get to your knife if I'm on top of you? Gun's over there because it got dislodged, right? You drew, I smashed you, gun dropped. You got to go to your backup weapon. What can you do? Right? Can you get to it quick enough? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you get your taser? So on and so forth. And we train it.
Yeah.
Now they're under pressure. They're getting punched in the face. They're getting hit. They're getting hurt. They got it. And that's the reality of that training. That's the reality of life. It just doesn't, and then once you do get that clearance, you do maybe get to your weapon, or how are you firing it? We have simunitions where they're pop, pop, pop. They could be able to get them off, but can they get them on target? And we know people can take a few rounds and still keep on going. Yeah. So then they have to deal with that. So we put them under a lot of stress. Yeah. We still do similar things to our civilians as they get higher in rank, and they've been there longer. And then we do the same thing with our BC Firearms division, where we have people holstered with training guns. And they go to get it out. Can they get it out in time? And I grab the gun, and then we start hitting them. What can they do? Because in reality, if you're going to carry concealed, you got to realize that those type of close quarter encounters can happen. Mm-hmm. So firearms with carry, that's going to be your number one deterrent or number one defense for an active shooter. Mm-hmm. Number two, understanding your environment, understanding your facility that you're in, understanding the situation, and being able to use your environment to your advantage. That takes training, right? That takes experience. That's where we were in Vegas doing our shoot house, and that's the type of training that's needed for that. Yeah. Out here in Idaho, we set up all kinds of crazy stuff because we're allowed to. We just go out in BLM land and start putting up stuff and playing scenarios. But other places you're not quite able to. I'm sure New York probably isn't that friendly with it. Yeah. So it's very difficult to get people on that mindset. And so they're pretty much just sitting ducks at that point. So the best thing I tell untrained people, you should know where your exits are. If nothing else, you walk into a facility, no matter where it's at, and the best you can do is know where your exits are. And you're going to each one of those exits. You're just trying to find that exit. You run as fast as you can. That's the untrained, unwilling person to fight, and they just got to go. And people have to be honest with themselves. Are they willing to fight, or are they? And then just do it. Be honest. Like, no, I'm not willing to fight. I'm out. Yeah, and that's the best thing you can do. Yeah. And then I look at things like when you talk about firearms, you look at people in their homes. It blows my mind that everybody does not have a firearm in their home. Even if you have kids, there's so many really great products out there. There are safes with fingerprints entry and codes and this, that, and the other, that if you're worried about your children and they're not educated on it, then you can keep it safe, get to it really quick. If somebody breaks in your house, there's three guys, you're half asleep, they're on top of you before you know it, holding you at gunpoint. Your family's there. It could be so horrible. Yeah. That the fact that most people don't have firearms in their home while they sleep at night is mind blowing me.
Well, I keep them. I have them in my office. I have them downstairs because I'm like you. I think in the worst case scenarios all the time. And if I'm caught with my pants down somewhere, that's the worst feeling to me, is like, shit, if I'm not prepared, then I don't know.
Right.
But we're like-minded. We think about this crazy shit all the time and how to prevent it and what we can do to better our situation, better our chances.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the tragedy, the tragedy that happened, and then that it continues to happen, right? It's been happening for years. That happened the other day. Terrible, and don't make light of it. I don't make light of it at all. It's actually pushes us to try to promote self-defense even more because of this. And I'm not sure all the details, but the reasonings for it is even more disgusting, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's white supremacy or what, I don't know exactly what. I just what I saw on the news. I don't really watch the news, actually, the feeds that I get as far as articles and such. So it can happen anywhere, in any time, for no real reason. You can say, well, I'm not in a high crime area. It doesn't have to be.
Well,
Yeah, the odds.
that's what I get on my feeds. I'm more active with trying to give little tips here and there, and people are like, "Well, how dangerous is it in South Orange County?" Like, what? I'm like, I don't care how safe it is wherever I'm at. I'm going to be prepared just as I am in Laguna Beach, as I am in Compton. I'm ready. I'm still aware. I mean, the levels are different, obviously, but it's still, as soon as I walk out of the house, I'm still actively aware and looking around and have my head on a swivel, and everything that you've trained me to do. Doesn't matter where I'm at. If I'm in surfing, walking down the beach with my son, or if I'm doing this and that. I mean, people are getting more relaxed, and it's mind boggling to me.
Oh yeah, it is, and well, it's also, we live in such a society that we're told certain things, or we're so used to living in a very easy, living types, environment, that you're going to adapt to that environment. So if the environment has no threats, you're going to adapt to that until it has a threat. Then you're in trouble, right?
Or you become a victim, and now you're like, oh shit, I should have been training for the last 20 years. And it's like, well, that's what I want to promote. That's what Savage Syndicate's all about, is trying to get you to be proactive instead of waiting until you're a victim, or some, bad case or worst case scenario happens to you. Start training now. Get on it now. Chris, like how do people reach out to you right now and ask you questions or get signed up with you?
Well, on my Instagram, it's you can either go to Boise City's Krav Maga, or Newton's Physical Education. That's the tags, whatever. That's my I got two of them. Those are my names on the Instagram, probably the best way, or Facebook. And we're here in Boise. We do lots of we have a whole division of firearms training, and we have our Krav Maga. I'm also a personal trainer for fitness, which is another extremely important thing for self-defense. So it's kind of a three-pronged monster there. Just for people, I live in Boise right now, right? And it's and I live out here in a place called Eagle, Idaho. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. I live in a mile away from the foothills. I'm about 10 minutes from another town, and then downtown Boise is about 25 minutes away. I live in a very safe, nice place.
Where's the surf?
You know what? They have surf. They have dudes. It is pretty crazy. They have dudes surfing in the river. They make this thing, and these guys are down there in the wetsuits, and it's pretty aggressive. Yeah. It's pretty cool. When you come visit, I'm going to take you there.
I think Bo sent me a video or something of it. I'll give it a shot.
No, I have it. I have a video, because I actually sent it to my mom the other day, because I was listening. Look at this, and I'll send it to you. Okay. It's pretty cool. But yeah, well, you're coming up soon, so we'll get you on there. And I grew up in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. It's steel town. Kind of rough and tumble. Didn't have a lot of major threats or anything, but you have to keep your wits about you. Then I moved to Miami. Miami, you gotta be a little street smart. Yeah. Right. Lived there for 20 years. And then it was California when I met you, and now Boise. Yeah. So I lived around and lived different places, but my mentality has always still been the same. Yeah. I'm still there. If I go on a road trip and there's nobody around, I'm still in that mindset. If I'm up in Montana hiking, there are grizzly bears up there. Northern Idaho, I'm still watching, right? I'm not in white, no matter where I'm at. If I'm on a long road trip and there's nobody around, I'm watching my gas tank. I'm making sure that I don't run out. There's things. I got my firearms. I feel good. I feel good because I have the firearms. The firearms, I'm looking to hurt nobody, right? But I feel good and I feel comfortable that things can be handled if necessary. Yeah. If I got my firearm with me and I need to go hands, I don't know if I can pull my firearm if that guy doesn't have, if he doesn't have a firearm, or if he doesn't have a knife. Yeah. We're going hands. We're gonna have some fun. Let's rock and roll, right? But if things start going wrong and his three buddies come up behind me with pipes, my firearm's coming out. So that's where the training comes in. Know the level of threat. Yeah. So if we're in an active shooter situation like yesterday, to put a little stamp on this, I feel terrible for the victims and the victims' families. Hope we get through this. But for the future and for everybody else, definitely start looking into self-defense, firearms training, wherever you're at. Don't just jump in without educating yourself. That should be with anything in life, right? You shouldn't invest in the stock market unless you educate yourself.
Yeah.
So education is key. You know, when you're out, keep your kids close. You know, watch yourself. Any strange situations, any strange people. You know, be aware.
Mm-hmm.
Have that awareness, and that's the best we can do. And then hopefully, you decide to safely carry a weapon, and therefore you can not only protect yourself, your family, but other people as well.
Yeah,
best I can say.
Well, I appreciate it, Chris. I mean, like I said before, you are my wealth of knowledge. You're my go-to guy.
Yeah.
So I know it's Sunday morning for us, but I appreciate your time, and I wanted to get you on and get your input, and you exceeded my expectation once again. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.
Sir.
All right, brother.
I'll see you soon.
All right. Send me that video of surfing in the lake or whatever, or the river.
I'll send it to you now.
All right, brother. See ya.
All right, brother. Later.